United Health Group is simplifying healthcare by investing in tools to help patients know more and pay less. These tools help patients find providers and compare costs and save hundreds of dollars annually. Learn more at unitedhealthgroup.com/commitment.
Spring Black Friday is on at the Home Depot. Save on grills and patio sets that will be sure to bring your hosting game up a notch. Fire up your feast with help from the Home Depot and save on grills. Like the Next Grill 4-burner propane gas grill was $249, now on special buy for $199. Or give everyone the best seat in the yard with the Hampton Bay Mayfield Park 4-piece conversation set for only $399. Save on grills and patio sets with low prices guaranteed during Spring Black Friday only at the Home Depot. Now through April 22nd, while supplies last. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
Daisy Fancourt comes from a family of musicians, so naturally she went into music as a career. As a young adult, she worked in hospitals playing piano for patients. She was fascinated seeing how engaging with music helped these patients on their healing journey. Fancourt decided to go back to school and train as a scientist so she could research this phenomenon. Today, Fancourt is a professor of psychobiology and epidemiology at University College London and author of Art Cure, The Science of How the Arts Save Lives. In it, she provides new evidence that engaging in the arts is both healing and health-inducing.
Day-to-day arts engagement is something that can support our well-being and our resilience. It can enhance our life satisfaction, our sense of meaning and purpose day-to-day, our happiness. People who engage regularly in the arts actually have a lower risk of developing depression in the first place. But for people who might already be experiencing symptoms or have diagnoses of mental illness, arts engagement is actually a really effective way of managing and even reducing symptoms. So clinical trials show that if people are engaged with regular arts activities for sort of 6 or 10 weeks, there are marked reductions in anxiety and depression. For people with moderate anxiety and depression, we see 30 to 40% decreases just within those 10 weeks, and those effects can last even beyond the end of that 10-week period.
The empirical evidence is so strong that doctors in the UK literally write prescriptions for patients to access the arts. Fancourt says this trend could soon be popular on our side of the pond.
And actually, I've been involved in a study in the US, which has been looking at arts on prescription in 18 different regions of the US. So very much is happening. And there are some really wonderful results coming out from those studies. But it's something we still don't have probably enough public awareness and clinical awareness about the benefits of this approach.
Fancourt is speaking about the National Endowment of the Arts-funded research at the Epi Arts Lab at the University of Florida's Center for Arts and Medicine, where she is a principal investigator.
What we've done over the last 6 years of research funding from them is to look at these cohort studies, which track thousands of people in America, and look at their arts engagement and their outcomes. And we've actually found amongst young people that if they engage more in extracurricular arts clubs at school, like bands, newspapers, and arts groups and dance, that we see over time a reduced risk of developing these behavioral problems like getting involved in criminal behavior or antisocial behavior. And we see that self-control and self-esteem are really important explanations for why that is. And we've got that longitudinally in the data.
Despite this empirical evidence, many public school boards in the US see arts courses and offerings as a fluffy kind of luxury. As a consequence, the arts are often the first budget cut casualties.
In fact, when I looked at the stats for my book, I found that there are 2 million children in the US that have absolutely no access to the arts in their schools, despite 94% of parents thinking that arts is important within schools. So there is a big issue we need to acknowledge, particularly because young children who don't have access to the arts at a young age actually have an increased risk of mental health problems, of behavioral problems, of getting involved in criminal or antisocial behaviors. They have a risk of lower self-esteem, lower self-control. So arts engagement is actually critical to so many psychological and behavioral aspects of children's development, not to mention it being something that can nurture creativity and curiosity and compassion, which are some of the most important skills that we want young people to have as they're growing, developing, and entering the workplace too.
It's important to note listening to the radio and watching TV don't count because they are passive activities. Fancourt says we need to actively engage with the arts to get their full benefits.
One of the things I do in the book, in Art Cure, is I actually give people a checklist about all the reasons they might not be engaged, because actually some of it might be psychological. Sometimes people feel they're not artistic or creative. Sometimes it's more physical, like they might not feel that they've got the money or the opportunities, or it might be to do with not enough time. And depending on which things you're ticking, essentially, in this checklist, you need different solutions to that. But we know there are so many easy ways that people can get more involved.
For example, instead of scrolling through social media on the commute to work, why not read a book instead? Then after work, instead of meeting friends at a bar, why not show up at an art gallery?
Look for things like opportunities to watch videos online to learn a simple craft so you can just get going with something. This is apparently quite popular with young people at the moment, is doing what they're calling granny crafts, where they're learning things like crochet because it's a way to get off their phones but use their hands in a similar kind of way. And also, don't worry about producing something that's amazing art. Remember, actually, it's the process of getting involved that is so important. So my top tip is to think about art like diet. We all have our rules for like making sure we eat some vegetables every day or whatever. Work out what your equivalent is. Is it 10 or 15 or 20 minutes of art that you'll weave in? Or is it about having a weekly class that you'll always go to? And just make sure you start off with those small behavior changes.
One way to get involved in the arts at no cost is the annual global event called Print Day in May, which this year happens to land on May 2nd.
For 24 hours, each first Saturday in May every year, printmakers and laypeople from around the world get together with others. They work solo, however they want to do it, and they make a print, at least one original print. And they post that on social media. They post it on our blog. And they know that they are taking part in an event with tens of thousands of other people all around the world, all doing what they love to do at the same time.
That's Print Day in May founder Robynn Smith, professor emeritus at Monterey Peninsula College in Monterey, California. She says that printmaking is anything that transfers a mark from one surface to another.
And in that transfer, unexpected magic occurs. But within that definition, a footprint in the sand is a print. A lipstick mark on a margarita glass is a print, and anything in between, a handprint, a footprint, a paw print. My cat participates. So it really is a very open thing. And then in between those sort of fun prints and the professional serious prints, there's anything in between. We really encourage people to bring kids into the process and introduce them to printmaking and art making. We encourage people to grab their friends. Anyone may be interested. We encourage academic programs to participate with their students. So it's a very inclusive event that really is not all about professionalism.
Smith says even the simplest ideas can make for an interesting print.
Yes, your footprint on a piece of paper may not be exciting to you, but at the same time, it's an interesting pattern. It means you've participated. It gives us one more person in the world who is aware of what we're doing and appreciates it and wants to participate. So it, could be that your footprint wins a prize. Unlikely, but if you did something to that footprint, if you drew on it, enhanced it, sent a message, you never know.
Smith says you can engage with printmaking using common household items. Tempera paints, India ink, even vegetables like beets have their own type of ink.
My mother participated in 2020 by making a handprint with marinara sauce that she was cooking. So seriously, anything that makes a mark from one surface to another. You could carve into a block of eraser and roll or dip that eraser in some kind of liquid paint or ink and stamp that. So stamp prints. You might have an ink pad on your desk, an old-fashioned ink pad. That is a print. So there are many ways to participate without money, really, without having to purchase anything, without having to visit an art supply store, although I always encourage visiting art supply stores, but you don't have to.
In her 30 years of teaching, Smith says she was always delighted when older adults entered her studio to engage with the arts once again.
People who came back to school after having had big adult lives were always so much happier once they started doing what they had always loved to do and had not allowed themselves to do. And it sort of naturally created groups of people in these classes that were so beautifully connected. A 14-year-old junior high school kid with a 90-year-old nuclear physicist who came back after a science career saying, I just want to do something with my hands. And the two of them becoming best friends. So there is something about healing our world as well as healing individuals that I think we tap into with this event.
Fancourt says no matter what activity you choose to engage in, she encourages people to get a daily dose of the arts.
I've called the arts the fifth pillar of health because I feel like exercise, diet, sleep, and nature are four that we already talk about. I'm sure people will quibble with what they think those other four are, but it's essentially this concept that it is this fundamental behavior, fundamental human behavior that's been with us for hundreds of thousands of years, but something that we're just not recognizing enough. And we've had these kind of pivot moments where we've suddenly become aware of the importance of other behaviors like physical activity, for example, like sleep. And I feel like we need that same pivot moment for our recognition of the arts. If you're feeling chronic pain, how do you actually use the arts in the most effective way to reduce your pain levels? Or if you want to use the arts to help you to run faster or exercise for longer, what tempo of music do you need? And I think that those simple scientific facts can help people to feel like they're not just engaging, but they're engaging in a way that they know is going to have health benefits too.
Print Day in May is free for anyone to join. You can find out how to register for the event by visiting printdayinmay.com or our website, radiohealthjournal.org, where you can also learn more about all of our guests. Daisy Fancourt's book, Art Cure, The Science of How the Arts Save Lives, is available now online or by requesting it at your favorite bookstore. For more behind the scenes, follow In Good Health Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Our writer-producer this week is Polly Hansen. Our executive producer is Amir Zaveri. I'm Kristen Farrah.
There's an SUV that turns the unthinkable into the unforgettable. The new Nissan Pathfinder, built for big adventures and all that family chaos. It's powered by a strong V6 engine with a 9-speed automatic transmission. Inside, it's rugged and capable, but still premium and tech-forward, with room for up to 8 passengers. It's also available with 7-passenger seating and second-row captain's chairs. With massive hauling capability, now you can bring all the gear you and your family need for unforgettable adventures. The new V6 Nissan Pathfinder. Power your adventure.
Spring Black Friday is on at the Home Depot. Save on grills and patio sets that will be sure to bring your hosting game up a notch. Fire up your feast with help from the Home Depot and save on grills. Like the Next Grill 4-burner propane gas grill was $249, now on special buy for $199. Or give everyone the best seat in the yard with the Hampton Bay Mayfield Park 4-piece conversation set for only $399. Save on grills and patio sets with low prices guaranteed during Spring Black Friday only at the Home Depot. Now through April 22nd, while supplies last. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
The hottest plate in town right now? Yeah, it's at Applebee's. Applebee's OM Cheeseburger is back, you guys. A juicy bacon cheeseburger coming in hot on a sizzling skillet of even more cheese. Cheese on cheese on cheese. I'm telling you, this burger is absolute fire. Head to your nearest Applebee's to try the even cheesier OM Cheeseburger for $11.99 or on the 2 for $25 menu. Dine in only for a limited time. Price and participation varies. No substitutions. Offer valid per person per order.